Totally radical, dude.
Totally, bro.
Yeah, I can't do it, I'm sorry. Testing the new Cobra RAD drivers. Stay tuned.
Totally.
All right, we've had a little bit of a hiatus, but we're back.
Yep, getting all the stuff in, all the clubs.
Yeah, we filmed so much Bettinardi stuff, I think we could literally post for a month on that, but I'm sure at some point, you guys are gonna get tired of putters.
Yeah.
I'm already tired of putters.
Long ball.
Yep, this is the more fun. So, the Cobra RAD X.
Got the RAD Speed, the RAD XB, the RAD XD. Got all 3 lines of it. We're gonna hit it big like Bryson.
Something like that.
That's what he's got going.
So there's 3 different heads.
Correct. 3 different heads, 2 different colors.
Yes. So you've got the RAD.
The RAD Speed, that's their 460. It's their kind of their players, their low spin, all that. It's got
low spin, low launch.
Yeah, it's got the same weights in the bottom of it, like the F9 and like those had, where you have the 2 that you can flip flop to change
forward and back,
change loft and spin, that kind of stuff. But it also has, what they've done now is they've put these radial weights in the front of them, and then they've also added another weight to the back, kind of like how TaylorMade's done, how Ping's done. A bunch of them have done this weight towards the back of it, kind of moving CG, helping with launch, those kinds of things.
Dive into the radial weighting here in just a minute.
Correct.
They also have the RAD XB, which realistically the biggest difference here is that there is no forward weight like you can flip flop. So there's still the rear one, but not the forward one. You still have the RAD radials. The RAD radial weighting, words, but not the one in the middle, so you can't flip flop. Again, this is going to be meant for somebody trying to get a little bit higher ball launch, possibly. Spin is not a big of a factor, probably a little bit more forgiving as well. And then you have the RAD XD, which realistically, these are almost the identically same head. The only difference here, this one's going to have a draw weight.
Yeah, they've moved some weights around on it.
And so you can set this up a little more of a draw bias. So if you've got the the old nasty banana hook, this will help you out a little bit. So other than that, that's the 2. Not sure that we're going to hit the draw because it's exactly what it sounds like, but we are definitely going to hit the speed and the B. So
check them out. We'll give you all some real stats on these things. All right, so first off, we have the RAD Speed driver. Cobra's saying that's a handicap range for that type of golfer. Usually we say that at the end. We'll kind of say at the beginning now. That's going to be they're saying a 0 to 15 handicap. So the RAD Speed has a traditional 460 head, forward bias with the radial weights. Also, it has the 2 weights like we mentioned. You can switch front to back with them to start changing spin rates and launch kind of workability. And this has the most adjustments for workability of the 3 models. Next up, you have your RAD Speed, the XB driver. Handicap range is from a 5 to a 15, a little bit more forgiving, still a 460 head, has a back biased radial weighting. So you've got 8 grams in the front and 20 grams in the back. So they're moving that weight back a little bit for launch. That's going to be their most forgiving ball flight, still holding on to some low spin. And then your last one you have is the RAD Speed XD. Again, 460 head, handicap range they're saying is from 5 to 25. So this is their extreme draw bias. The weights they have in this, you have 8 in the front, you have 14 in the back, but then you also have that added 10 gram weight in the heel to help out with that draw bias, and this is maximizing its sliced fighting powers.
Slice fighting powers. So we've got the speed in our hand. This is probably where you and I would end up.
Yes.
So we're gonna hit it first.
Yeah, we didn't talk, when we were talking about just like the look of the driver, we said that there are 2 different color schemes that you can get. So this one that we have right here, if you look on the bottom of it, you've got a kind of a navy, some red, some white, and it's more of a matte finish.
Yep.
And then on top, you have that kind of matte. Still shine. It's actually kind of cool. It's kind of like iridescent or something.
I was about to say.
So you got it. You can see kind of how the light hits it and everything. So you can still see some of the carbon fiber in the top.
Not much. Not anywhere like the Sim, like the TaylorMade Sim
correct.
or Callaway.
Very, very faint looking at the top of it. Same score marking or same line right there, that Cobra with the crown on it. Again, this is more of a matte finish on it. Your other one you have, which you can get this finish in all 3 models.
Right.
The other one that you have is a very glossy finish on top and bottom. It's black on top with some kind of neon green yellow.
Yes.
And then when you get to the bottom of it, it's a glossy white with a whole bunch of that neon green yellow on the bottom of it, making it looking,
and I think both of them, totally. I think both look good. You know, it's pretty classic head shape.
They've got some of those. They have those little what Ping called them, like turbulators.
I always called them fins.
Yeah, those kind of ridges across the top for speed, aerodynamic, that type of stuff.
Yep. So they're kind of venturing out. Did the previous model have those?
I believe it. I don't quite remember, honestly, but I believe
this
it
one
did.
does. We're not sure if the other one did or didn't. But.
And that was in the speed zone. Would be the last model that came out. Something else that you see that they came out with the speed zone, and it continues with the RAD that's different from the F9. So they have that CNC milled face on it.
Yes.
With the F9, whenever you looked at it, there was the CNC milled face, but then there was a ridge that was around the outer edge of the face.
Yeah, so just below the transition, essentially where the face would normally go in. So normally on a regular driver, if you're looking at a Sim or something else, if you're looking at a Sim, it'd be that where that white part, well, I guess it's black on the Sim too, but where the off-colored part and the face changes color, it's that exact same spot. This one, I will say, and this is where you're going with it, is felt a little bit closer in.
Yeah.
Which for better players, not that big of a deal, but if you happen to be a higher handicap and maybe have a little wider dispersion.
They were tearing, what they were finding was you're tearing golf balls up.
Yep.
There was a very distinct channel around where that milled face was.
Yes.
And if you missed it low on the face, hopefully we didn't miss it too far heel and toe, but really it was your low and your high misses. It was ripping covers off golf balls. So they've taken that CNC milled and done, they've got a little infinity sign up there face, so like an infinity face, so that face actually wraps all the way around it. There is no more channel around it to tear a golf ball up.
So from a top line standpoint, it makes it a little probably more awkward looking. It's a visual thing. You know, I don't necessarily care or not care for it. But it is there, so you see that face come up and over a little bit more, so you have a very distinct
transition between
millimeter to millimeter line that you really see the face.
Yeah, so the face comes up on top of it, and then it transitions into your matte or your gloss finish on top of it.
Which I will say you notice it less in the gloss.
Yeah.
Because the face colors are very, very similar. The matte, because it's a little bit of a blue tint to it, you see that transition a little more.
I like this kind of.
I actually do too. It's kind of cool looking.
Like as the light hits it, it gets more of like a bluish purple.
Yeah, like from my perspective right here, it almost looks black, except for spots. And then as you move it around, it turns to blue. It's like those cars in the 80s, what it was, the chameleon paint. It's like, it's yellow, it's green, it's purple.
Nobody knows what color it is. Let the light hit it.
All right, let's fire away a little bit.
Another thing that we didn't say on there. So we've got the Fujikara, the Motor Speed. It's an X and an F1. So they have their stock shafts that come with it. The Hazardous RDX.
Yep.
And then they have this Fuji, but they carry this one in an F1 and an F3. So the F1 this is an extra stiff in it, but the F1 is more their low launch, low spin. The F3, more of a mid to high launch and spin. And then that Hazardous Smoke sits in the middle of it too, with kind of a mid profile.
Just like most of the manufacturers, they try to encompass as many golf swings as they possibly can with their stock shafts or standard shafts.
Yep.
Obviously, you have upgrade options past that if you want to move into like a Tour AD or something like that higher. It's obviously going to be an upcharge. So
other thing that we've talked about too is this is one adjustable on the hosel. You can adjust it. This is a 9-degree head. It goes all the way up to a 10.5 or all the way down to a 7.5 with also a couple of draw settings on there. This one, Cobra, is one that you spin the shaft, not like Callaway and Titleist where you spin the hosel on there and the shaft stays the same. So when you're looking at grips, I would not suggest putting an aligned grip on it. We'd go with like a 360 or something that's completely round so that you can spin it and it's not going to affect where that align thing is and feel that way. If you like the align grip, then you need to make sure that you get fit and figure out exactly where you want it, and then put your grip on once you get it lined up.
I would say dial in the driver first and then have the grip put on.
Yes.
Don't do the reverse of that because you're going to end up going through grips pretty quickly.
Yeah, you're going to end up spinning it and having to cut it or blow it off or something.
Initially. Save yourself, 20, 30 bucks. I don't know how much are those line grips right now, like 10 bucks?
Something like that. They're all somewhere
Save
in that
yourself
range.
15 bucks every time you change it.
Yep, well, let's bust it.
Also, we've talked a lot about the paint as Aaron hit some. There's no performance difference in the two. There might be some slight aerodynamic stuff between the paint that has a little bit of a shinier coat to it versus the matte. Honestly, I think it's going to be so minimal, it's not going to matter.
It's a visual thing. What do you like to see? Do you like to see shiny or do you like to see flat?
I always tell people when I'm fitting them for a golf club, the two things I can't fit for are look and feel.
Sound.
Or sound, which is kind of like...
A little toey.
Yeah, I will say for me, this is probably one of the first Cobras I've actually preferred the look of. And that's so, Aaron just said that one was a little toey, club head speed of 107, spin rate 22.5. So this is where that radial technology starts to kind of come into play a little bit. Kind of crime of opportunity, might as well talk about it.
Yep.
So those weights with how they're positioned is what they're trying to do is they're trying to make those off-centered hits become a little bit more reasonable shots. As long as the path's okay, and you can see that last shot that Aaron hit. Toey, typically if you were playing your driver now, it probably would have hung a little further right, maybe drifted a little bit further right, whereas that one seemed to want to come back to center a little bit more.
Yep.
Could be your path and face angle, obviously. Could have some factor in there, but we're going to say the radial technology is working a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely doing what it said. I mean, as far as launch and spin and stuff, for me right now?
Yeah, it's actually, the spin on the last one's a little low. You said something interesting to me prior to us starting to shoot, and that was that the tour is trying to get above close to 2,500 RPMs.
Yeah, they're starting to look a lot more at
which
a little bit higher, I say higher, spin rates.
Yeah, that's still not that high, but
yeah.
So Aaron's actually a little low. We used to fit people with the idea if you can get to 2,200, that's the golden number, or 2,100, right in that ballpark. Yep. I'll be honest, kind of in what I've looked at with my driver, because that's something I've struggled with lately, is control. With the spin is that, it's around 1,800, 1,900, and it's just knuckling out there and has zero control.
Yep.
I feel like this has a little offset into the shaft. Am I full of it, or is that just...
Possibly, I don't know. And they haven't said anything about it?
Not a lot. It's not awkward. It's probably more awkward seeing that face transition, but it's still not bad. What's the length of this?
That one's 45.5. That's good comment there. So
it feels actually a little short. That's why I was asking, but that's,
they are,
I don't know if it's because the grip's more defined right here.
Yeah, so all your Cobra grips have that, in there, so they're...
It's a little bit more of a butt out. It's hard to tell, but it just flares a little bit at the end of the grip, and I can, because I put the grip right about there, no, I'm not supposed to, but I do. I feel it a little bit more. That's probably just what I'm feeling there.
46 is what they're starting to come in at a little bit of a standard.
Make ball go far.
Yeah, backing on that.
Oh, that
getting on that Bryson stuff, but yeah, 46-inch, kind of a standard length coming in. So when you're ordering those, make sure you're kind of being cognizant of that length difference there.
Yep. All right, let's try and get one in the fairway here. Ooh, lost my balance there a little bit. Oh, there's my hooky swing. All right, well, we have flipped out from the speed to the B.
Yeah.
XB.
Yeah, Speed XB right here. So this one, like we're saying, so in the speed, you had two 8-gram radial weights in the front. Those ones don't move.
Right.
In the B, we have two 4-gram radial weights and a 9-gram and your 14-gram. So this one, they've moved the weight back, looking for higher launch.
Yep, exactly.
So we kept same shaft, same loft, just swapped the head out. So hopefully we'll probably see a little bit higher launch.
I was about to say we should hypothetically see a higher launch. I don't remember what yours was.
It was we're between the two of us, we're averaging like 9. So
it's probably all you.
Yeah.
So look-wise, looking at, and we're going to talk about finish because this does have the shinier finish on it versus the matte. Do you have a preference now which finish you prefer?
I like the matte. I think the matte's cool looking.
This is more traditional looking.
Yes, yeah, this is kind of shiny.
Black.
So this is
You see more of the carbon fiber right out of the gate.
what do I want to call this? I want to call this bass boat black.
Oh, it's got the flake.
Yeah, it's got
Heavy
the
flake.
It's got all the sparkles in it.
Yeah.
And then the
Same thing, you see a little bit of the carbon fiber.
carbon fiber is a little bit more distinct in this one.
Yep.
And like you were saying too, because of the black top and kind of the gloss, the transition of the face isn't as noticeable as it was on the
Now, if you like the sim driver and some of those things that you have a very distinct, noticeable difference, you might prefer the matte because you might like that.
boom, boom.
Your launch angle is better though.
Yeah.
So obviously, when Aaron was talking about the weights being further back, what they're doing there is they're pulling that CG back. I'll try and find a graphic, but that's the face, and the weight's really forward. Your launch is low, spin is low. As you pull that weight further back away from the face, it pulls that launch up, which can increase spin and increase carry. So realistically, they're just trying to cover everybody here. And I will say there's not necessarily a better player, like a low handicap, high handicap thing here. It's really just what you need.
Yeah.
Because I know some low handicappers that just launch the ball too low. I'm one of them. I've gotten to that point where I start launching the ball too low. And so a lot of times I end up like Callaway used to have the Sub-Zero. They don't in the current rendition of Epic.
No.
But I always used to play the standard, not the actual Tour Sub-Zero version, because it wasn't workability. I would have preferred to have the best of both worlds, but I'd rather get that consistent launch.
Well, DJ's hitting, I don't know that he still is with the 2, but with the Sim 1, he was hitting the Sim Max.
Yep.
Which is...
No, Rory was playing the hybrid version of the Max. And so again, there's not a better, worse situation. It's just which one is right meant for you. And they're trying to encompass everybody. And that's why they always have, oh, you're only going to do 2? Yeah. Something we did not mention is we took the exact same shaft that we were just hitting in the Speedhead. Oh, never mind.
I mentioned that.
Look at Aaron go.
Same loft, same shaft.
I'm just looking at the head design. A little deeper head design. It doesn't actually it doesn't look too much.
Same. All across the board, they're all 460 heads.
Maybe it's just the visual of, because you don't really see the fins that are still there at all.
No, they're
still there. I just felt I had to feel to make sure they were there.
You can feel them, but you can't see them. I guess with the gloss, it just visually it just changes it. Better launch there.
Yep. See, and that's exactly what I'm talking about is all of a sudden I launched that to 12.2, spin rate's a little closer to what I wanted. You know, and it didn't carry quite as far. I carried about the same as the other one. So realistically, I'd probably still, if it were me, I'd probably go with the other one and just change the loft a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, my clip head speed's lower than I think so is yours. I don't have a preference between the two colors, man. Because it's not like, I mean, there's a lot going on the bottom there, but it's not like you stare at that over the ball.
Yeah.
Eek. Well, I'm pushy, but I'm getting a better...
Still getting a better launch and better spin.
Yeah, I was about to say, as far as stats-wise, if I was going to go neutral on everything, I don't know what you have this set up as, but...
Yeah, it should be, that's just on a -1 neutral face.
So it's 8, 7.5. I mean, it feels, that's the thing is, the thing about Cobra, they've always felt very solid, right? TaylorMade's always felt solid. So there's not a lot of, like sometimes non-carbon fiber heads can get a little pingy, like tingy almost. This combined with the milled face, I mean, it feels like you're hitting something.
Yeah, it feels solid. It's there. Yeah, it's not squishy or any of that kind of stuff.
Versus, you know, exactly squishy, or even the sound isn't so ear-piercingly loud. Something I've noticed with our Honma drivers is they're super loud. All right, one Bryson swing.
Uh-oh.
Ouch. I don't think that was supposed to.
Tore an elbow.
Whoa.
Hey, I think I have seen that. You just hit that into the house.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I think it spun a little bit.
First aid. Not gonna lie, that hurt a lot. Final thoughts on the Cobra RAD drivers.
I think it's good. I like it. It's cool. Like, what I do like is you have all the head options with different stuff, which most all your manufacturers are coming out. What TaylorMade has 2, Callaway has 3, Ping has probably 3. So you can really kind of dial this in to the player, but then also what they've done that I haven't seen most manufacturers do is come out with two different like two completely different looks from the top.
Yeah, Callaway's offered that before, but in a custom option only.
Yes.
So you end up spending what, like $100 or something like that more to go above and beyond and to change those colors. So it's kind of nice to have those options. Some people for the matte, some people for the gloss, and now you get to pick.
Yeah, which I know Cobra started doing that with the F9, I think, is whenever they started giving you like multiple head options in there on the colors. So yeah, good stuff. Milled face, rock and roll. It's radical.
Don't hit it like I just hit the Bryson version of one. That was no bueno.
A little spinny.
We might not even show it. I'm just kidding. I'll show it.
Cool. Well, thank you all for checking in.